Hello fellow brotendos, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my name is Flynn and we are back with more Weiss Schwarz deck profiles, and this time I'm going to do one on Love Live Sunshine. This is one of the first decks I've ever got way back in the day. It was based off of the second trial deck, I believe. It was the one where they all were in swimsuits and all that, and I was like, why not? I did the other ones before this, the other old decks, and try and get all the old decks out of the way and then work my way up to the most recent decks. I mean, this one is sort of recent, upgraded wise, but I think you know what I mean. So first of all, Love Live is a fantastic series. I've been a fan of it. Obviously it wasn't this one, but it was Love Live News, you know, the original. But yeah, I like Sunshine too. My favorite character, as you can probably see already on here, it's a little bit, the stick is a little bit Yohane bias, Yoshiko bias, because I like that character. She has, like, you know, a lot of energy. She kind of gives off like a Megumin type vibes a bit. Yeah, I like Yohane's second character. I like his Rico. So, but yeah, Love Life, it's a idle slice of life anime. Well, I was inspired by this, funny enough. So let's get started with this. This is a triple color. There was no green, even though you can play green. In the very top here, we're gonna start with Hadamaru. She is a brainstormer. She is also like a power booster, 2000 power. Turn the end of the turn every time you trigger a climax. She's yellow, and the brainstormer effect is rest herself, pay 1, flip over 4 cards at the top of your deck, and then each climax you hit, you can salvage a yellow, keep that in mind, a yellow character from the waiting room added to your hand. So she's okay. I kind of use her a little bit more for somewhat the boosting effect, but the boosting effect you can't really control to a certain extent. Once we get to those cards, I can point that out, but the brainstorm effect is sort of there. Yellow is pretty important in this deck. It has your finisher, it has some cards that you need. Like there's like this level 0 yellow card that I would mention once we get there, that it's somewhat important for the beginning game, I would say. But yeah, there's Hadamaru, and actually the only Hadamaru in the deck, so like I would add more of her, but she just doesn't. Some of her cards just don't really fit the strat I'm trying to do, so that's why there's only just the Brainstormer, which, don't get me wrong, is pretty good. It's I just wish, you know, obviously it wasn't just yellow cards to salvage. So yeah, next we have Ruby. Now she only has one ability. She has the demon trait, which is funny because she's part of like Yohane's little demon group thing. If you watch the anime, you know what I mean. So yeah, she's yellow, 1500 power, which is considerably a little weak these days for a drop searcher. I mean, this specific card is not new, it's fairly old. Yeah, two of these rubies, she's just a little drop searcher, and after that she's just a level 0 yellow beat stick, which is good enough. So yeah, if you need a card and you don't have anyone to pay the stock and discard a card for it, she's your gal. She can do that. So here we go. Next, she's a runner. Every time she attacks, 500 plus power to any character on the board that you control. So she can buff herself, she can buff other cards. 500 is very small, yes. It's tiny power, but sometimes 500 can make a difference. It just depends on the situation, right? So that little boost can help, especially if you have like 2 other ones on board. Get both the Yoshikos to attack, and they will buff the other characters, because the level 1 combo does need a reverse, so that would definitely help with that. The second ability is pretty important. So at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you may put the target card of your deck into the waiting room. If it is a music character, you can move this card to open position in the center stage. So if she's like by herself, or if there's at least 2, or if she's in the backstage and you want to move in the front stage, then if you hit a music character from the top of your deck to the waiting room, then she can move around. So that can avoid your opponent's on reverse climax combos effects, or just in general. She's yellow, 2k power is alright for a center stage runner. I mean, some center stage runners do have a little bit less power because they do a little bit more They just run. I mean, she does too, but the 500 plus power is sometimes mediocre. It doesn't even do anything most of the time because 500 is so small. But okay, so next is one of this Yo. She's a card I kept from the trial deck. Actually, funny enough, this is the triple rare. I pulled the triple rare version of this in the trial deck back in the day, so still have it today, the real life. And she's our first red card. And then what she does is when she's placed for the stage from the hand, you may look at the top card of your deck and you may put it into the waiting room, or you could keep it back on top of the deck. And then the second ability, which is sort of why I run it, besides, I mean, both abilities are helpful, but let me get to the second one real quick before I explain the first a little bit more detail. This one, the second ability, act ability, rest 2 of these characters, and then choose one of your characters, give 2 dozen power to end the turn, and that's massive. That's a point. So that's like the Heart of Morrow's ability, but just like on command. You can do it pretty much whenever if you have the resources for it, which is just 2 characters you have to rest. Yeah, so let me talk a little bit about the first ability again. Again, there's another card in here, and once you get to it, I'll explain it. But it's pretty important. It plays part of this first ability, which is the top chuck and then mill it, potentially, if you wanted to. But it can, the other card can look at it beforehand, before you can choose to mill it, before she's placed on stage from the hand, type thing. So that could be helpful, that could not. Obviously, if it's like a climax based off the other card's ability, then you don't want to mill it, unless you want to just, refresh faster. If you have a very, very terrible deck state, then yeah, go for it. That's what I would do if I was in your shoes in that situation. But yeah, that's all she does in that triple rare and the first Yo card of the deck. So here's the second Yo card, and sadly, that's all the Yos. But yeah, this one is kind of new. I just found out. Maybe I think this one's from the Mirage set. She has one ability. So on play, put 1 card in your hand in the waiting room. When this card is placed on the stage with your hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, reveal the dark card in your deck. Choose a level X or lower character in the waiting room. Return it to your hand. X equals the level of that card revealed this way. So if you hit a level 3, reveal the level 3, then practically the whole waiting room is available to you, right? She's just there to like salvage a card +1, well, not really +1. You just stay neutral. You just trade a card for another card. So yeah, let's move on. First blue card of the deck, and this one's pretty dang important, I must say. It is a Kanon. It's 3 of her. I was running 4, but 4 was a load of much. I'll explain why in a bit. But she's really good. So first of all, the first ability, when this card is put from the stage of the rating room, look at the top card of your deck, put it in the bottom or keep it on the top. So this plays a little bit with pretty much almost all this in the previous state. So this Yo, right, that would help. This other Yo would sort of help as well. Look at the top card. So if it's a character, obviously you reveal the top, which is just like KO basically. She can help get cards back based off the card that you left on top of the deck, in a sense, because like she doesn't need to be defeated. She can just, like I said, KO, but like you could just play over her and then boom, her ability activates. So that's what helps with this. But then there's this Yoshiko Yohane. If it's a music character that you left on top, she can move around, right? And then if it's a climax you left on top, the Haramaru can just brainstorm it away. Then you guarantee a hit. See what I mean? So already we're like 1/4 of the deck, and this card has that much uses already. So yeah, her second ability is put this card into the waiting room. When another of your characters is put for the waiting room on the stage, if this card is in the backstage, you may pay the cost. If you do, return that character to the previous stage as the rested position. So again, very, very important. Like both her abilities helps out a lot in this deck. She saves a character by sacking herself. She's basically like a free encore. She puts herself from the stage to the main room, and then whatever card that got defeated or just straight up put to the waiting room, because that can happen too before battle. You can just sack herself, bring back that card, and then based off of that, her first ability would trigger. Then you can look at the top of the card, you can keep it there, put it in the bottom, yada yada. So that's how important she is. You see how it's all coming together. So, and she's also the blue color fix. So yeah, very, very helpful. The reason why I didn't do 4 is because there's sometimes where I only have like 1 card left to deck, and I have nothing but Kanans on the board. So no matter who I play over to replace her to do her top check ability, it won't really do anything. Like, I kind of wish if it's like when you look at the top card of the deck, kind of like Yo here, you can put it in the waiting room instead of just put it in the bottom. You know, I know that's a blue color thing. If it's that 1 card, if it's like a climax, and you can put it on the top or bottom, and if it's the last card of your deck, it's not gonna matter. So that's why I only did 3. 4 was nice, and most of the time it does sort of work, but you only need just 2 at the end of the day because her other ability only activates in the backstage. So that's why there's only 3 instead of 4. So next we have this Daya. Blue card. I believe she's new too from that new set, the Mirage, if I'm getting that incorrect, please correct me. But yeah, she's the big sister of Ruby. Here we are. Daya. Continuous effect for ability during your turn if all your characters are music, which is the entire deck. This card gets 2k power, so she is a level 0 4k beat stick basically. And then the other ability is important. Pay 1 stock, put this card into the waiting room when your other music character is being frontal attacked. You may pay the cost. If you do, return that character to the hand. So she's kind of like a Yoshiko here in a sense. She moves around, saves herself, yada yada. She can kind of somewhat save herself, not really. It just depends if your opponent attacks in the right order, depending on the situation. But yeah, she can save a character. She puts herself in the waiting room. You pay 1 stock, and then you bounce a character that's being frontal attack. Yeah, she's helpful with that regard, or just something you just want to avoid. That if a card gets reversed or something, or you don't want it to be defeated in general, then she can help. Yeah, we're gonna move on to a very recent card I added to the deck. Actually, here we go. Blue card, Mari. She's another brainstormer, but we'll get to that in a little bit. We're gonna talk about the first effect. Obviously, it's continuous, and it is also an experience, which I kind of wish it wasn't. But here we go. If the total levels of the cards in your level is 2 or higher, this card gets continuous assist during your turn. All of your characters in front of this card get 500 power. So that sort of sucks in a lot of ways. So first of all, brainstormers with assists, no matter if it's 1,000 instead of 500 to your turn, 500 globally, which is good and rare, but or just 500 assists characters in front, you know, a normal assist. That can happen as soon as cards just drop from the hand on the stage, on the board, right away. They're assisting, whether it's your turn again, turn the stage, etc, etc. This requires cards in your level, pretty big cards too, just to do what other cards do. I'm like, well, I was confused too, and I even looked at the powers of this card, and I was like, 1500. It's a little bit stronger than your average assist brainstormer, but I was just confused when I read it. So you need 2 or higher. So as soon as you put a level 2 in your level, then she's online with that ability. But that means you have to at least be level 1 and then have a level 2 card in your, clock to put to level just to get 500 during your turn. That's not even cross turn. Are you kidding me? Whatever. So anyway, the second ability is brainstorm. Pay 1, rest yourself, flip over 4 cards, top of the deck, put them in the waiting room for each climax. Reveal amongst them, search your deck for 1 music character. So better than Haramaru, right? Haramaru salvages yellow cards. Just, again, I wish she was adding music character, but Mari straight up search. That can very much help. So she's kind of like Ruby, but the thing is with Ruby, at least Ruby can still attack. She has to be like put in the backstage because obviously brainstorm, she rests herself, and that's it for the turn. She's also a blue color fix, and I also wanted another Mari card because as you can see, I want to have sort of like at least 2 cards of each member, but it just did not work with Harumaru. Harumaru is the only one that is by herself. This is it for Harumaru. Yeah, that was Mari. Here we go. Another Yoshiko card, Yohane. This is from the trial deck. I kept 2. I believe the trial deck gave you 4 of these, and she only has 1 ability. She's just power. If the number of music characters you have is 3 more, she's 2,000 power, so she's essentially a free 6,000k beatstick. Yellow color fix. Free to play, no stock required. And she's just there to just keep board presence, I guess. 6k is sort of difficult to get over. And that's pretty much all she does. It's a Yohane card. I just sort of kept her in there for the yellow color fix. And again, just to stay on board. Next, we have our second red card. But first, red card in the level 1s. 3 of these chicas. So we gotta have the leader, right? The leader of Aqua. That's the idol group. That's their name. We gotta have the leader in here, right? But all she does is when she's placed on the stage from your hand, you choose 1 music character, gets 1,500 power to their turn. So this helps with the climax combo. Again, I'll talk about it once we get there. But red color fix, she boosts mainly that level 1 climax combo. So you can buff herself if you really wanted to. Again, it would be a 6k beat stick. Just like the Yohane here, but a Yohane can keep that as long as you have 3 or more music characters on board. She just keeps that for 1 turn, and then after that she's a 45 level 1 free to play red color character beat stick. So here's the second red card. That's level 1. It's a little bit more important than Chica, I have to admit. But there's only 2 of this. Rico, which is again this is my second favorite character. Sunshine. When this card attacks, choose one of your other music characters, gets 1,000 power to end a turn. So again, she can help buff the level 1 climax combo. Yeah, she cannot buff herself because the text says other, which is fine because the other ability, which I'm going to get to right now, is an encore, which is just hand encore. You just put 1 character from your hand in the waiting room, and then she's put from the stage to the waiting room. She can save herself that way. So yeah. Rico, there she is. Next is the other Mari, which I just had at the time before that level 0 Mari brainstorm I just recently added, which is this one here. Yeah, so she does sort of a lot for a free to play level 1. So here we go. The first ability is an auto. When this card is placed from the stage from your hand, look at the top card of your deck, put it on top or the bottom of your deck. So again, you see kind of how the running theme is going on here, so that's kind of what this card does. Look on top, plus in the bottom. It's a blue card thing, but yeah, again, that would help with the Yoshiko, with the Harumaru, with the Yos, etc, etc. So that's somewhat the theme I kind of wanted to keep with this deck to a certain extent, so that's why I put her in here. I would possibly run 2 more. I just don't see any room for her per se if I were to rework this deck, but right now there's only 2. That's her first ability. Second ability is when this card attacks against X power until the end of the turn, X equals the number of music characters you have. She doesn't include herself in that ability, but if you have a full board, man, that's 4k boost. Like Jesus. I mean, she sort of needs it. She's 3k base power, but for good reason, because 3 abilities off of a blue card that can be played for free. What? Bushiroad? What? So yeah, she gets crazy big if you have enough characters on board. That's her second ability. That's her first ability. Her third ability is when this card becomes reverse in battle, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a level 2 or higher, you may return this card in hand. So see how they kind of somewhat plays with their first ability. It doesn't really, because by the time you go into battle, other characters attack, that top card is already gone. Or if another card changes the top card of your deck, it's not going to work. If it's a level 2 or higher, or a level 3 even, then yeah, she just saves herself, and then you have another you can just play her again, you know, have another character for next turn, play on the board, and then hopefully the next card that she reveals on the top deck is more useful. So she can just keep pushing for that ability, but you have to be lucky with the level 2 or just hard encore her, pay the 3 if you really want to, but I don't recommend it. But yeah, that's all 3 of her abilities just off of this card alone. So she does a lot. Again, I would play more of her, but I just don't really see what to kick out for her. Plus, other cards already does what she does, especially that first ability at level 0, so I could just do that right away, pretty much as soon as the game begins. So yeah, that's the second Mario card. A lot to talk about for something that could be played for free once you're level 1 and have blue cards, obviously. But yeah, it's crazy. So here we are. Next is this Daya. I believe she's like one of the OG cards, maybe, from the set. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, she's a climax combo, as you can see. Her first ability is when a climax is placed at the climax area, so the climax phase basically. This card gets 1500 power to the end of turn, so she gets 6k auto climax combo. So here we go, the important ability. If a card named Mirai Ticket is in your climax area, look up the 2 cards from the top of your deck and then choose one level 1 or higher. Choose 2 level 1 or higher cards among them. Reveal it to your opponent out of the hand. Put the rest of the raid room. So yeah, that's kind of insane. So if you know about Hololive, there's 2 cards in that set that I know of that are level 0s. It's a La Plus and an Aqua, where when they get defeated, you know, either reverse or put to the waiting room, one of those things. Yeah, they practically do what she does, but on defeat, I want to say. And then you can just look at the top 2 cards, add both those characters if they are characters, add them to the hand. So yeah, the La Plus and Aqua is a little bit more consistent, but what she does it on reverse with the climax, and then it's not even level 1s or lower, it's level 1s or higher. So that could miss. Yeah, but if it hits, then you plus 2 cards. You add 2 cards in your hand, and you may get the backups that you want, because the backups are level 2, and you can get your other climax combo, which is essentially your finisher, but we'll get to that once we do. But yeah, I play 4 copies of her, again for blue color fix, and then the Mirai Ticket is interesting, which is the climax combo. There's 2 different climaxes that has the same name, but it has to be treated as if it's the same card, if that makes sense. So it's one of those things where it's up to your preference on what Mirai Ticket has to offer. So a little bit, going a little bit ahead of ourselves here, but if you wanted like 4 gate climaxes, then you could just choose the 4 Mirai Gate climaxes instead of just 2 or less or whatever, 4 or less. Or you can, if you just want the wind Mirai Ticket, then you could have 4 of the 2, but you can't do 4 of the wind and 4 of the gate because it's considered as a same card, sadly enough. So I guess that sort of makes sense for something like this. I know there's other cards I believe that's in this set that climax combo off of Mirai Ticket, so maybe that's why they limited it that way. But yeah, that sort of sucks in that regard. But yeah, if her thing hits all the way, 2 cards level 1 or higher, just because you defeated a character, because her first ability helps with that, and then again, the Chikyo can buff her, the Rikyo can buff her, the Yoshiko can buff her, right? Even this Yo can buff her. You gotta rest 2 cards, right? That's what I was talking about with all these before her. That can buff her. You know, besides like counters and the climax itself. Both the climaxes that have in your Mirai Ticket is a 1k1, which is, those who don't know, that's 1 soul, 1000 power. So buff with that. So she gets pretty dang massive, like 9k or over if you did all that. If you had the Chiku, the Riko, like over 10k, fairly easy if, you know, the stars align and everything's in your favor that turn. But yeah, 4 of her climax combo, that's Daya. So next is Daya's sister, Ruby. Here we are. So yellow card, she is a backup. and somewhat of a unique backup too. I don't know if I messed out on these or this is just a staple back in the day, but she's like a Force Miller card. So what she does is auto when you use this card's backup, put the top card X of your opponent's deck into his or her waiting room. X is equal to the number of music characters you have. And her second ability is a standard backup 3k, which is fairly big, but level 2, so reasonable. But yeah, that first ability though, milling, could be good and bad if you're obviously facing a deck that highly centers around standby. Then technically you're just helping your opponent out. But if you mill like a whole bunch of cards that they needed in the deck that they want to search for, then hooray, I guess. you hit them. But if it's just like, I don't know, it just depends. Thing is that when you do use the backup, it's forced, so you gotta do it as soon as you did the backup ability, which kind of sucks. But you just never know. Like if it mills your entire what's left of your opponent's deck, you know, like if you have a full board, and then that'd be 5 cards because 5 music characters are your side of the board, and then the backup, and then your opponent has like 5 or less cards, then yeah, you gotta force them to refresh. You're gonna take that 1 damage, and if it's a climax, then awesome, right? But it's another one of those cards that if I need a backup, I can salvage off of Hardamaro to get it from hand, and then I can pretty much, you know, kind of threaten the opponent that like I have a 3k backup in hand because you bust the reveal once you have this. So maybe they would think twice about, like, I don't know, try to reverse Dia here because they know that's your climax combo. They're gonna attack over it. Next we have the other second card, Chica. She's kept from the trial deck that I used to have. It did only give you 2, so I'm using the 2 that it gave me. It's red, it's a 2/1, it's an assist, so its first ability is all of your other music characters get 1000 power, and that's across the board, globally. It's cross turn. She busts everybody up except herself, which is fine because this is a card you just needed in the back row. You don't need it in the front row unless you're really desperate. But when your other character becomes reversed, this is your second ability now. Choose one of your characters, give 1000 power to the end of turn. So makes your opponent think twice about their attack in order. So if they attacked one of these yellow skulls that can't run in the way because your front center stage is full, right? They get reverse, but then they wanna. You have this card on board too, right? This Dia. If she gets reverse, this would trigger that second ability. They could give Dia the 1000 power. So now they have to work a little bit more harder to reverse the Dia, right? Well, obviously it just depends, but yeah, that she helps with stuff like that. So all these other cards, like this Ruby, for example, she gets defeated a lot because 1500 power is all she has after her ability. So if she gets reverse, this goes off and you get 1000 power to, you know, anything else on the board. Obviously you don't want to give it to her because she's already defeated, but you know what I mean. And it stacks too. So if they attack this Ruby and then they attack this yellow, I guess, for an example, and they're both at the center stage, but you have this Dia, they just want to get rid of these 2 because they're super weak and just want you to have less cards to work with next turn, right? That's just a free, basically 2k power for this Dia. So now it's just more trouble to get rid of. So yeah, that's what she's there for. 2 of her. I would downgrade her to 1, but sometimes when it's the end game and you need the power, all the power in the world, then 2 of her would definitely help, because as soon as 1 card gets reversed, my god, that gets stacked up pretty quick. So yeah, that's Chica and the trial deck. Here we go, Rico. And now I'm pretty sure this one is from the new box set, I would say. 2 of her. She's also another backup. She's a red color fix. And she's pretty much like a reset. So basically, her first ability is an auto. You pay 2 stock with this card. When you use this card's backup, you pay the cost. If you do, return all cards from the main room from the deck and then shuffle your deck. And then the other is the activability of the backup itself, 2,500 power. Level 2, just card the card, pay the stock, and then get buff of the character that's being frontal attacked. So yeah, she helps in a lot of ways. I know this is a common ability amongst backups specifically. I mean, there's other cards that do it too that are not backups, but for the most part, from what I've seen, it's from level 2 backups. So resetting the waiting room can be good. You just got to know where all your stuff is. If you have like 6 climaxes in your waiting room, right, and you're level 2 obviously, and your deck is pretty big, pretty stacked already, it's pretty fat. That means you can only cancel like 2 more times, and then like the rest of those cards in your deck, no matter how much it is just free damage for your opponent. So if you have a character on board and they're front attacking and they don't know about this backup, then you can do that. I mean, yeah, the 2,500 is nice, but mainly I use it for that first ability because you just have those bad deck state days, man. Like you just have probably all 8 sometimes in the climax, all 8 climaxes in your waiting room already, and you have like 25 cards in your deck. That's big trouble. You better refresh soon, you know. And she can help with that. And I also like the art too. The artwork. I want to point that out. Good art. So here we go. Here's the big gal again. Yoshiko Yohane, my favorite character. She is our level 3 climax combo for the deck. Level 3, yellow. So let's just get started with the abilities. So auto climax combo when Mirai ticket is placed in the climax area. Excuse me. This card gets 2k power, okay, and the following ability until the end of turn, which is another auto ability. When this card battle opponent becomes reversed, you may put the top card of your clock to the radium. So it's weird. So she heals. She heals you as soon as you defeat a character, and you have the right climax in on the board, and the 2k buff can't help it. And all the other cards again, Chika, Rico, Yohane, Yos, buffer, get that reverse, guaranteed reverse, especially if you're attacking into a level 0, like no chance. Yeah, she heals you, but like normally level 3s, I even have one in here, like, once we get to it, heals you as soon as you place them on board. So that somewhat sucks in that regard, but then again, every time it gets a character defeated, she heals you. So if you have all 3 on, if you have 3 of them on board and they reverse, then you just heal 3 damage, which is good and bad. So the unplay abilities that most level 3s have that heals right away is somewhat better, but with this you can heal practically every time as long as you reverse that character. But again, there's ways around that. But her second ability is auto. This ability activates up to 1 time per turn, which sucks, but this is why during the turn that this card is placed on the stage in the hand, so only during that time, when damage is dealt is cancelled by this card, you put the top card of your deck into the waiting room and deal X damage to your opponent, execute to that card's level +1. So she's a Musashi effect, if I'm saying that right. Musashi is from Kantai collection. She was like the first card that introduced that ability, but now other cards after her have that ability now, and this is a prime example. She's also a yellow card as well, so yellow has this ability. Yeah, that kind of sucks because if it's like a level 3, that's like 4 damage, which is nice if you think about it, on paper, but your opponent is probably going to cancel that. If it sticks, then damn, that's big boy damage. But if it doesn't, then oh well. And then like if you mill a climax, that sucks too. But this somewhat plays with all these top checks abilities. But the thing is like this is mostly during battle, so it's sort of hard to look at the top card of your deck during mid-battle unless you were doing like a standby, which does exist, but the standby stuff doesn't really work with the deck I have going here to a certain extent, so that's why I don't play it. But technically you can do standby to help out with it. You can standby out if you trigger it. You know, play over her with the standby target, and then her effect will activate. And then you look at the top card, and then if it's something you want to do with her, if it cancels, then that would happen, I guess. But I don't know, man. It's hard to like get that effect like burning all the time. So because it's by chance, obviously, right? So yeah, and that's why it's called Bluesky. She's off of that card. So she's basically a finisher. I just do it because I play her because well, she's Yohane. That's my favorite character, Yoshiko, and that Mirai ticket thing is pretty interesting because, again, going back to this level 1, it's 2 different cards. So yeah, yellow card fix as well. So that is the Yohane, and she's also from the new set, the Mirage set, Volume 2. So yeah, next is the Rico, level 3 red. She is our early play, potentially. Her early play condition is the 2 or less climaxes in the waiting room. She gets 1 bonus level into the hand, so she becomes a level 2. You can early play her if you have red and all that good stuff. Second ability, during your turn, if you have another music character, this character gets 1000 power, and the following ability, auto, when this card battle becomes reversed, you may send that character to your opponent's memory. So she just memory kicks a character. Yeah, it does help your opponent compress a bit, having 1 less card to work with. But if you hit like a key card that they need, like a level 3 climax combo or level 1 climax combo, even level 0 sometimes, if you reverse that character with her, it's just gone. And not a lot of decks out there can recover from cards that are in memory. And then the third ability is when this card's placed on the stage for your hand, look at the X amount of cards on top of your deck, choose one. Choose one of those cards, put it in your hand, put the rest in medium, and then X is equals the number of your opponent's characters. Not how many of your characters are your opponent's characters, which I find a little odd, but I find that like every time I play it and I use that ability, it's always like 4 or more, because it's kind of like a comeback mechanic in a way ish, but like usually it's the other way around for effects like that. So like it's when it plays on stage from your hand, you look at X amount of cards, and it's based off of how many characters you have, not what your opponent has. So I find that odd and interesting at the same time. It still helps in the end of the day. Like if your opponent has at least 1 card, then you would, get 1 card back, because it's any card. It doesn't have to be a character, climax, anything. It's good in that way as well. So yeah, that's why I play her, Rico. She's from the new set. It's a red color fix, and she could be early played potentially. So yep, Rico. Next is the other Kanan. This is from the trial deck. She is also another level 3 climax combo, but it's not too crazy. But here we go. The first ability is what I was talking about a little bit earlier with the healing of Yoshiko here, Yohane. When this card's placed on the stage in the hand, you may put the other card of your clock into the waiting room. So there you have it. Like a given normal level 3 healing ability, but like after that, it can't be done again unless you play another copy of her or over her, the same card, etc., right? So that's why it's can't be argued between these 2 type of effects of how they work, I guess, because they both do the same thing at the end of the day, but one can do more theoretically than the other. It just takes a little bit more work and more stuff. But like, yeah, she's in like an emergency out for healing. If you're at 6 and you're about to refresh, but you have her hand, you have to start for her, play her first, heal, then do whatever you have to do to refresh, and then you'll be back at 6, but at least you could play the game a bit longer, right? Make a comeback. So yeah, his second ability is the other climax, which I'll get to, that isn't Mirai Ticket. Climax combo with a card named Midsummer, Aquarium, Mari, Kanan, and Dia. Oh my god, that's a mouthful. It's placed in the climax area if this card is in your center stage. Keep that in mind. Search your deck for up to 1 music character, reveal it. Add it to your hand, and then this card gets 3k power to the end of turn. So It's a niche ability. You could search for like, I don't know, like one of these Ricos or one of these rubies that can definitely help back up your characters. So yeah, and she gets 3k power, and then this does it like as soon as you slam that climax down, the ability immediately activates. So you don't have to reverse, you don't have to pitch a card, you don't have to pay a stock. It just happens. She gets 3k power, which is nice, and the search ability, which is again usually when that happens, it's usually these backups, or if like I just became level 3 and I have like the Mirai ticket climax in hand and I want my level 3 search for her, or if I need a brainstormer to deck out the rest of my cards, get the Hadamaro, get the Mari, get the buffs, you know, for next to Chica, etc, etc. So yeah, she's nice in that way, and then she heals, but after all that, she's just a 10k beat stick. But blue color fix, and it's the second Kanon card, because like I said, I try to keep 2 of everybody in here except for Hanamaru. She's the only one that didn't really work out, unless you count this, which we're going to get to like right now, because that's all for Kanon has to offer, the level 3. But yeah, here's the first Mirai ticket. It is a yellow wind card, right? Wind climax card. It's a standard, again, 1k1. When you play it, it gives 1000 power, 1 soul, to all your characters at the end of the turn. And then if it's triggered, you bounce a character for your opponent's board to the hand, and it's optional. So yeah, that's the yellow Mirai ticket. Climax combos with both the level 3 Yohane and the level 1 Daya. So I'll be able to discuss those abilities so you know what they do. But yeah, if you just want to play 4 copies of this because of the wind trigger, I guess, then go for it. But you have to focus more on the yellow side, or the other one, which you can see from right now on the screen. It is a blue. It's a different climax trigger. But if you want to do 4 of those, you can, just to keep the blue going, the blue color going. But you cannot have 4 of these and 4 of the other one in the same deck. It just has that restriction. So yeah, that's all that does. And then next is the Midsummer Pool Climax combo. This is all 4 cards I kept from the trial deck to save money, basically. But it's just a book. Every time that's triggered, you draw a card, and then the 1k1, when you slam it on the climax phase, give 1000 power and 1 soul to all your characters until the end of turn. This card climax combos with this Kanon, which is just a search and 3k power if you remembered. So yep, there you go, 4 of those for a blue color fix, and just to fill in the gap of the other climaxes, because what I learned about can have 8 of the 2 different 4 copies of the Mirai ticket in the same deck. Then I just had these to save money, blue color fix, and then the Kanon. So next and lastly, we have the other Mirai ticket climax. So it's the gate. It's blue. So if it's triggered, you may choose the climax in the waiting room, add it to your hand. That's the deck. That's Love Light Sunshine, guys. I do want to upgrade my other Love Light deck. I do have Muse, but it wasn't the OG trial deck. It's the other one that I guess came out with this one too. The one that I got, like the swimsuits one. I don't know what the name of it's called, but it's like a second trial deck. A little bit more modern times at the time. Yeah, that's the deck, guys. This is Love Light Sunshine. You can kind of see the theme following for this deck. It's a lot of top deck checking. That's basically it. I love how it plays. It's pretty dang consistent. I mean, there's those days, those times, those turns where you just don't have the right color. You have all these like level 1 blue dice, for example, but no blue card in the clock, no blue card in level, and you're just kind of forced to just eat a turn with nothing really done. I mean, yeah, you have all these level 0s, but besides that, I love how it plays. I love Light Sunshine, and I'm glad that the Bushiroad decided to give them more support. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.